Rama Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Vignam Nashne Shmati Nam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurana Pachari Namaste Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshata. So we're going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, Text 34. Does anyone remember anything from yesterday? Any main point from yesterday?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
So we heard about we should abandon all the religions and the processes of karma kand, which depends on the ability of a person, and uh, give ourselves to devotional service, and we should be in bhakti as Krishna personally then takes care of us. And we should also understand that Lord Hari uh, is in is situated as Paramatma and as Paramatma in every living entity, and not as Atma. So we should offer respect to every living entity according to their position and manifestation. We should remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in everyone's heart, and we should respect everyone. We should live among the devotees and the saintly person and learn the etiquette and behavior of devotional service from them. We must completely, the Vaishnava sadhu must completely adhere to the standard of a behavior, give all respect, offer service to such a person with all sadhu qualities and Vaishnava qualities. We should accept a bona fide spiritual master, and as we will be eager to know the truth, we should serve spiritual master, serve as a menial servant with all our talents and possessions, follow his instructions, and that is Guru Shushrunam. And then we also heard that by accepting bona fide spiritual master and rendering service unto him with great devotion and faith, with implicit faith, if we are serving him, we will be, and if we have surrendered, we will free ourselves from the material entanglement, because even Krishna says, and he has explained, the process is the performance of duties by which love of Supreme Lord develops by bhakti. So we should stay in bhakti, because that's the way out. And situated in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can go back home to Godhead.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll
Hare
continue
Krishna.
reading. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue reading. Text 34. Nishamya karmani gunana tulya.
Nishamya karma gunan atulya
Viryani lila tanubihi kritani.
Viryani lila tanubihi kritani
Yadati harsho tupulak kashrugad gadam.
Yadati tasho pulakashru gadgadam
Protkanta udgayati rauti nrityati.
Protkanta udgayati rati nityati.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is a
Hare
liberated
Krishna,
person.
Shilpaji. Sorry, can you? Your voice is a little soft. So if you could speak a little
Able to hear.
louder. Yeah, it is a little soft. I can hear you, but it's really soft.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'll try to
Hare
speak.
Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to speak a bit louder. Okay, so One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses, and thus he is a liberated person. When such a liberated person, the pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnations for the performance of various pastimes, his hair stands on end on his body, tears fall from his eyes, and in his spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances, sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus he expresses his transcendental jubilation. So Prahlāda Maharaj is showing us the symptoms of a person, a pure devotee. The Lord's activities are uncommon. For example, when he appeared as Lord Ramachandra, he performed uncommon activities like bridging the ocean. Okay. Hare Krishna. I think there's some kind of a disturbance there. Or is it just
Yes.
me?
No, it's a loud noise at the background. Neha, I think you can mute. Krishna.
There is no noise here.
Ah, I don't know.
No, nothing at my side. I'll still mute, but there's nothing at my.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Or maybe
Oh yeah,
just
now it's gone. Yeah.
maybe just
No, it's
sometimes
gone.
there's an echo. Yeah.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Okay. So similarly, when Lord Krishna appeared, he raised the Govardhan hill when he was only 7 years of age. These are uncommon activities. So the Lord's pastimes, who can imitate? Who can make the stones float in the ocean? Who can lift Govardhan hill or kill Putana demon when they're just few days old? Only the Lord can do that. Fools and rascals who are not in the transcendental position consider these uncommon activities of the Lord to be mythological. But when the pure devotee, the liberated person, hears about these uncommon activities of the Lord, what happens to him? He immediately becomes ecstatic and exhibits the symptoms of chanting, dancing, and crying very loudly and jubilantly. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. So when one hears the wonderful leelas of the Lord, how do the non-devotees act? What is their reaction?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
They don't consider it real. When a non-devotee hears it, he doesn't consider it a real.
Yeah, thank you. Well, the question I was asking was that when one hears the leelas of the Lord, then how do the non-devotees react? And then the non-devotees, they consider it to be mythological, not real. Actually, when we were small growing up, even we were made to think that the stories of Lord Rama, Lord Krishna are mythology. Like in school, that's what we would be taught, kind of. It's mythology, or that would be the common atmosphere. But of course, at home, like, my granny would keep on telling us these stories because she would she would read from her Bhagavatam and keep telling us these stories. But this mythology, yeah, I remember that people consider it mythology. But the devotee, when he hears it, what happens?
He believes it. He has complete faith.
He has ecstatic symptoms.
And he believes in it.
Symptoms. Yeah, he believes in it and he has ecstatic symptoms. So that's the difference. So here Prahlāda Maharaj is saying, and he's saying that the pure devotee is already liberated. Krishna himself also says the pure devotee is liberated. Here Prahlāda Maharaj is also saying pure devotee is liberated. And he experiences ecstasy when he hears the Lord's pastimes. Yada graha grasta iva kvachit pasati.
Yada
Grahagrasta iva
kvajidasati
kvajidasati
Akrandate dhyayati vandate janam.
akrandate
akrandate dhyayati
vandate
Vandate janam.
Muhushvasan bhakti hare jagatpate.
Muhushvasan bhakti hare
Hare
jagatpate
Jagatpate.
jagatpate
Narayaneti atmamatir gata trapaha.
Narayaneti
Narayaneti
atmate
atmamati
gatatrapaha.
gatatrapaha.
When a devotee becomes like a person haunted by a ghost, he laughs and very loudly chants about the qualities of the Lord. Sometimes he sits to perform meditation and he offers respects to every living entity, considering him a devotee of the Lord. Constantly breathing very heavily, he becomes careless of social etiquette and loudly chants like a madman, Hare Krishna, O my Lord, O Master of the universe. When one chants the holy name of the Lord in ecstasy, not caring for outward social conventions, it is to be understood that he is Atmamati. In other words, his consciousness is turned toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Comments?
No,
Anyone?
it's good. Yeah, I mean, you can see, but many times you can't make out whether this is real or no. Like, there are some people who imitate.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
right?
There were some people who imitate. Yeah, that's right. So, okay, going on. Tada puman mukta samasta bandhanas.
Tada puman
Mukta samasta
samastandhana
bandhanas.
Tadbhava bhavanukrita kritihi.
tadbhava
Bhava
bhava
bhava krita
anukrita kriti
shayutrukati
Nirdagda bijanushayo mahiyasa.
Dagda
nirdagdabhijanushyo mahiyasya
mahiyasya
Bhakti prayogena sameti adhokshajam.
bhakti
Bhakti
prayogena
prayojena sameti
sametyatoksajam.
adoksajam.
The devotee is then freed from all material contamination because he constantly thinks of the Lord's pastimes and because his mind and body have been converted to spiritual qualities. Because of his intense devotional service, his ignorance, material consciousness, and all kinds of material desires are completely burned to ashes. This is the stage at which one can achieve the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. When a devotee is completely purified, he becomes anyabhilashita shunya. In other words, all of his material desires become zero, being burned to ashes, and he exists either as the Lord's servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover. Because one thinks constantly in this way, One's present material body and mind are fully spiritualized, and the needs of one's material body completely vanish from one's existence. So, because the devotee is completely now attached to Krishna, no more material desire. He does not identify himself as the body at all now. He's established his relationship with Krishna in either of the five rasas. So his mind is spiritual and his body is also spiritual. Prabhupada is explaining how. An iron rod put into a fire becomes warmer and warmer, and when it is red hot, it is no longer an iron rod but fire. Similarly, when a devotee constantly engages in devotional service and thinks of the Lord in his original Krishna consciousness, yes, he no longer has any material activities, for his body is spiritualized. Because some people would say, oh, how come? What are you saying? No, the body is still material. So Prabhupada would say, yeah, you put an iron rod, make it hot. Okay, so what it becomes, it catches the quality of fire, right? So the body, because it's being used for Krishna's service, is completely spiritualized. And Prabhupada say, if you want to refute, then are you going to touch a red hot iron rod? People would say no. I say, yeah, why? Because it has the quality of the fire. Although it's iron, but it has become fiery now, being in contact with the fire. So similarly, the body becomes spiritualized. The mind becomes spiritualized in association with Krishna. So we hear this is like very high stage of uh, Krishna consciousness. Like we hear Raghunath Das Goswami, every 3 days he would just drink a little cup of chash, buttermilk, diluted lassi, once in 3 days. That's all what he used to have. Now, for a normal person, imagine if we were to just have that. It'd be like craving. We wouldn't be able to do anything. And so this goes to show that the body gets spiritual because then the person is completely on the spiritual platform. And the Goswamis, they were barely sleeping. They wouldn't even sleep much. Whole day they were writing scriptures, worshipping the Lord, preaching. So similarly, when a devotee constantly engages in devotional service and thinks of the Lord in his original Krishna consciousness, he no longer has any material activities, for his body is spiritualized. Advancement in Krishna consciousness is very powerful, and therefore, even during this life, such a devotee has achieved the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. This transcendental ecstatic existence of a devotee was completely exhibited by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya writes as follows: Tad bhava bhava tad yatha swarupam bhakti kechit bhakta vinrayanti gayanti cha yathe pisata yathe psitam kechit tushnim japanti eva kechobhaya karinaha. The ecstatic condition of devotional service was completely exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who sometimes danced, sometimes cried, sometimes sang, sometimes remained silent, and sometimes chanted the holy name of the Lord. That is perfect spiritual existence. So yeah, Lord Chaitanya, he showed us these symptoms. When towards the later pastimes, he was completely absorbed in Krishna, and his external consciousness was not barely there. He was always exhibiting these ecstatic symptoms. Of course, we can't imitate them. It's nice to hear about them. So,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Shilpaji. Like what Snehaji just said, that we don't know who's the real. And so in one of the lectures, a person asked this question, and then the Prabhuji replied that yes, you are right, but what is the safest part to be? To not judge and not think, because we don't have to, because then the karma comes on us, and because we don't have to judge that who's real or not real. So this person also asked the same question, and then Prabhuji just said that it is better to be on the safer side, to leave it on Krishna. You just pray to Krishna, because we don't know. Like how Prabhupada said, when one person asked the question that, Prabhupada, what if we are following Krishna throughout our life, and when we go and we think that he's not there, it is not true. And then Prabhupada said, and what if you are following just this one life, and what if it is true? Then what? So to be on the safer side, just not think anything.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Okay.
And one thing more, like as you mentioned about how the Raghunath Das Goswami ji, even Srila Prabhupada, he used to write. He wouldn't sleep at night. He would just translate the Bhagavatam. He kept on in his room when one of the devotee was standing out, and he saw that, oh, I'll go and see what Prabhupada is doing. Then he was translating. So even he wouldn't sleep whole night. He would translate, and then he would wake up early in the morning again. He would do everything. So, like as you mentioned, the body becomes transcendental.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
yes,
Srila
with
Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
also. Yeah,
yeah,
he also exhibited these symptoms.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I would like to add on one Neha's point on how people think about judging, and they are judging others. We just read yesterday also the same thing, that we have to burn down these kind of energies of lust, greed, anger, focusing on them, like Prahlāda Maharaj was saying. We have to sort, and we have to observe how we are in our wakeful time and how we are in our dream state. So we have to always observe how we are behaving, even whilst awake, even while we are in sleep, what we are dreaming of, where our energy is going. So we have to try to be in that mode of goodness. So we have to not think about, all these things. Don't focus the energy on the negative side. Think always of Krishna. That's the best way. Just think of Krishna. Yeah.
Think always of Krishna. Thank you.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. So going on. Adokshajalambam iha shubhatmanaha
Adoksajalam iha
Ashubhatmanah
subhatmana
sharirina samsriti chakrashatanam
Sharirina
Sharirina samshriti
Samsrichakrasatanam
chakrashatanam
tad brahma nirvana sukham vidurbudas.
Tad
Tad
Brahma Nirvana
Nirvana
Sukham
Sukham
Vidur Buddhas.
Vibuddhas.
Tato bhajadvam hridaye hridishwaram.
Tato
Tato Bhajatvam Hriday Hrid Ishwaram.
Hare
The real problem of life is a repetition of birth and death, which is like a wheel rolling repeatedly up and down. This wheel, however, completely stops when one is in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, by the transcendental bliss realized from constant engagement in devotional service, one is completely liberated from material existence. All learned men know this. Therefore, my dear friends, O sons of the Asuras, immediately begin meditating upon and worshipping the Super Soul within everyone's heart. Generally, it is understood that by merging into the existence of Brahman, the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth, one becomes completely happy. Yeah, so the Brahman, there's no misery in the Brahman. There's misery here in the material world. In the Brahman, there's no misery. There's happiness. The words Brahma Nirvana refer to connecting with the Absolute Truth, who is realized in three features: Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdayate. So the Absolute Truth is realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna is the Absolute Truth. He is realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Krishna is the Supreme Absolute Truth. So one feels Brahma Sukha, spiritual happiness, by merging into the impersonal Brahman, because the Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada is saying why one feels happy by merging in the Brahman, because Brahman is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all pleasure. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagat Koti. Yasya Prabha, the impersonal Brahman, consists of the rays of Krishna's transcendental body. Just like from the sun, the sunshine is coming. From Krishna's body, this Brahman is coming. Therefore, whatever transcendental bliss one feels from merging in Brahman is due to contact with Krishna. Contact with Krishna is perfect Brahma Sukha. When the mind is in touch with the impersonal Brahman, one becomes satisfied. But one must advance further to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for one's remaining merged in the Brahman effulgence is not always assured. So Prabhupada is explaining, although one is happy in the Brahman, this happiness is coming because Brahman is coming from Krishna. But one has to progress further. One can't just, say I'm the Brahman or just be in the Brahman. One has to advance further, surrender to Krishna, render service to Krishna, so that one can revive one's relationship with Krishna. Otherwise, one will fall down from the Brahman also, although it's so difficult to reach Brahman. And in spite of reaching such a high position, one will fall down because one has not rendered service to Krishna. As it is said, Aruya Krichrena Parampadam Tatapatanti Ado Nadrita Yushmad Angrayaha. One may merge in the Brahman feature of the Absolute Truth. But there is a chance that one may fall because of not being acquainted with Adhokshaja or Vasudev. Of course, such Brahma Sukha undoubtedly eliminates material happiness. But when one advances through impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in relationship with Him as a servant, friend, parent, or conjugal lover, one's happiness becomes all-pervading. Then one automatically feels transcendental bliss, just as one becomes happy seeing the shining of the moon. So although there is happiness in the Brahman, the happiness in serving Krishna is millions and millions times more than being in the Brahman. Because then one is, personally serving Krishna, personal associating with Krishna. So Krishna is the source of all pleasure. So one acquires natural happiness upon seeing the moon, but when one can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's transcendental happiness increases hundreds and thousands of times. So, when we see someone we love, we feel happy, right? We love someone, we're seeing them after a very long time, we feel very happy to see. But Krishna is our supreme lover. Then how happy we will be when we see Krishna. As soon as one is very intimately connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one surely becomes free from all material contamination. Ya nirvritisthanu-vritam. The cessation of all material happiness is called nirvriti or nirvana. So someone may think nirvana means zero or something black or nothing or something like that. Nirvana means that nothing material. It's completely spiritual. The happiness is spiritual now. No material desire. Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1138, Pramando Bhavedesha Chet Parardha Gun Nikrita Naiti Bhakti Sukhambo De Paramanu Tulamapi. If Brahmananda, the bliss of merging in the Brahman effulgence, were multiplied 100 trillion times, it would still not equal even an atomic fragment of the ocean of transcendental bliss felt in devotional service. How many times it's the difference between happiness in Brahman and happiness in this devotional service?
100 crore.
100 crore.
100,000.
That's what's written in
100
Hindi, is
crore
it?
more. Yeah, it's written in Hindi only. 100
Hmm.
crore
100
times.
100
crores.
billion times.
Times
100
more.
trillion times more. And yet it will not equal to it. Not even equal an atomic fragment. So someone is feeling Brahman effulgence happiness. Now you times it by 100 crore or 100 trillion. Still, it will not even equal to one atom of the happiness one experiences in devotional service. How much happiness is actually there in devotional service? Because it said even an atomic fragment, atom is so small. So it's atomic fragment of the ocean of transcendental bliss. Brahmabhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward all living entities. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 1854. So Krishna is saying that the pure devotee, pure devotional service begins from the liberated platform. One has to be liberated to engage in pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means there's no material desire, no desire for liberation, no desire for any mystic perfection. One is serving Krishna favorably by following the previous acharyas. And this comes when one is liberated, when one is completely understood, one is not the body, one is the soul. So if one advances further from the Brahma Nirvana platform, one enters the stage of devotional service. Mad bhaktim labhate param. The word adhoksha jalambham refers to keeping the mind always engaged in the absolute truth, who is beyond the mind and material speculation. Savaimana Krishna Padaravindayo. This is the result of deity worship. By constantly engaging in the service of the Lord and thinking of the lotus feet, of his lotus feet, one is automatically freed from all material contamination. Thus, the word Brahman Nirvan Sukham indicates that when one is in touch with the absolute truth, material sense gratification is completely nullified. So Prabhupada is saying by doing deity worship, by engaging always in deity worship, always thinking how to serve Krishna, how to please Krishna, always thinking of his lotus feet, all our material desires will go away. We'll come to the platform of understanding. I'm spirit soul. So by devotional service, the pure devotional service begins after one is liberated. So that is the beginning of real life. Any comments?
No, all good.
Okay. So let's stop here for today. Yeah. Almost
Yeah.
time up. Okay.
Yeah.
Srimad
Very
Bhagavatam.
high level
Bhagavatam.
platform.
A very
Very
high level
level.
platform. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very high.
that's what I can say.
How would Prahlāda Maharaj was saying, when the pure devotee, when he hears Krishna Katha, he becomes like a madman,
Yeah.
not caring for social convention. Would you all like to become mad in Krishna's love? Or would it be like, oh my God, what people are going to tell me, what people are going to think of me? What you going to choose?
Doesn't
Become
matter.
mad.
Yeah,
Become
doesn't.
mad
We
in
still want
Krishna's
to be
love.
mad. Yeah.
Yeah, become mad in Krishna's love.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So it's nice to hear about such high level things also, because even though we are not there, by hearing about such things also, helps us to advance spiritually. Very purifying to the heart when we hear about the pure devotees and hear about the symptoms or the reactions that they are having, the pure devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti
Jai.
ki jai, Hare
Jai.
Krishna.